Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. Now, it may only be 24 hours since our last update, but a lot can happen during that time. We've had European fixtures and we've heard from 5 managers ahead of game week 10. So let's kick off with Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers riding high on confidence following a 4-0 win over Nottingham Forest on Monday night, and they're hoping to make it back-to-back successes. But the Foxes will be out. Wilfred Ndidi, replaced at half-time on Monday night, returned from international duty with a slight hamstring issue, recovered but complained of a little bit discomfort and soreness again. Sumari coming into the team on the 45-minute mark. Now, it's likely that that hamstring problem is going to keep him out for at least a few weeks. Elsewhere within that Foxes squad, Papi Mendy also picked up a knee injury. That was a clash of knees in training. It's probably going to rule him out of this weekend, but it shouldn't be too long. Certainly long term, and maybe game week 11 is realistic for him. Elsewhere, Aston Villa. Big update here from Steven Gerrard. We'll start with the headliner. That's the news that Lucas Digne, that problematic, that complicated heel injury that was picked up while training with the French national team, that's going to be keeping him out, well, for an undefinable period of time. It's going to be at least 2 to possibly 3 weeks before the fullback will be assessed again. So no imminent return for Lucas Digne at this point. As suspected, Ludwig Augustinsson, he picked up that hamstring problem against Leeds. He's been ruled out of this weekend's fixture, probably going to be around about 3 weeks, so maybe towards the back end of October. Now, fortunately for the Villains, Matty Cash returned to the training pitches on Monday, and he's back in contention now. He could start on the right-hand side with Ashley Young, then switching flanks onto the left. That's probably how I see things going up this weekend. Just to make a note there at that point, we will be doing our live predicted level team news and injury update stream with Jason McKenna on Friday afternoon in and around 2:15, depending on times of schedules. But make sure that you're following socials and subscribe for all of those latest updates. And like I say, you could catch us on Friday with all of the latest news. Elsewhere for Aston Villa, Leon Bailey, that was a muscle problem last weekend as well at Ellen Road. A decision on his involvement, along with Callum Chambers' appendix. There will be a decision closer to game day. Of course, Villa don't play until Monday night. Diego Carlos, that's an Achilles problem that will keep him out for the rest of the year. And also Buru Kamara, MCL issue, not back until after the World Cup. We've heard from Ralph Hasenhüttl, not much change in that same squad, pretty much the same as what we expect as last weekend. Adam Armstrong and Lorios, they did pick up injuries last weekend, but they ruled him out of training earlier in the week, but they have rejoined the squad. There's also been 1 or 2 issues with regards to illness, but again, Ralph Hasenhüttl doesn't expect it to have a massive impact on the squad. For Bournemouth, we heard from interim boss Gary O'Neill. Joe Rothwell, Ben Pearson and Ryan Fredericks have all trained well this week in terms of where the players are and maybe in their availability. Joe Rothwell, he hasn't featured at all this season, so it's difficult to see him certainly pushing for that starting berth, maybe an outside chance of making the squad. Ben Pearson a little bit further ahead, and then Ryan Fredericks a little bit closer again, but at best I would say for the trio, all on the bench. Do I expect wholesale changes? Probably not. We've seen Kiefer Moore come into the side. That was the only change last weekend at the expense of Christie. Lloyd Kelly, ankle problem, remains out, and also Stanislas following a training ground injury there. For Wolves, Hee-Chan Wang picked up an adductor problem during that international break while representing his national team. He's back on the training pitches, so in essence, he comes back into contention. A few updates from the Champions League as well on Wednesday night. For Chelsea, Edouard Mendy was named in the matchday squad, so it remains to be seen if Graham Potter will keep faith with Kepa, who's been his number 1 during that period of Mendy's absence. Of course, he started in the win over AC Milan, so that remains to be seen. Elsewhere, Jorginho and Havertz, they were all cleared. The only player that remains out of contention realistically realistically is N'Golo Kante. He's recovering from that hamstring problem. He needs to build fitness. And also, sorry, to add, we've heard from Wesley Fofana through his socials, quote, "I'll come back stronger." Now, Graham Potter spoke about that win, and he talked about the injury was the only thing that marred a brilliant performance. Didn't look great. Mechanism, the way that leg, that valgus, that bent in, potentially ligament involvement there. We're hoping it's not ACL, but you could be looking at maybe the MCL, maybe a little bit of meniscus damage. How that changes things potentially for the Blues this weekend remains to be seen. Trevor Chabala, he came in on as a replacement at the weekend. We also seen in the past as well that Thomas Tuchel was a little bit reluctant to start Thiago Silva in 3 games in a row in the same week. You know, the veteran defender struggles to recover quickly. So there's a possibility that there could be changes in that back line. Mark Cucurella also returned to the matchday squad, and it remains to be seen whether Graham Potter will start Ben Chilwell, of course, coming off the back of that long-term knee injury for the 3rd time in a week. So be a little bit wary of that. Auba got on the score sheet. He was replaced at that 65-minute mark to keep him fresh for this weekend. So that looks good. With regards to Manchester City, we've heard that Kyle Walker, he undergone surgery successfully for a groin issue that forced him off during last Sunday's Manchester derby. Now that brings in a couple of problems for Pep in the fullbacks. Only Sergio Gomez and Juan Cancelo are the only 2 fully fit, experienced fullbacks. Sergio can start on the left, Cancelo are moving across to the right-hand side. Now, we have seen John Stones start at right back in recent times, but again, he's another player that will certainly be out for at least this game, possibly maybe another 7 to 10 days. That remains to be seen. Opportunities maybe to start 3 at the back. We've seen last weekend, we've seen Ake and Akanji as the preferred pairing. In the Champions League against FC Copenhagen, it was Ruben Dias and Aymeric Laporte who made his first start since recovering from a knee injury. So that's difficult, particularly for me as being a Dias owner. Does that call into question his starting place? Certainly Ake and Akanji haven't really put a foot wrong. Kevin De Bruyne, he was rested completely from last night's game, had a place on the bench but wasn't introduced. And Erling Haaland, another 2 goals during her first half performance before being replaced, surely would have got another hat-trick. But like I say, he was removed from the state of play. And finally, unfortunate news coming out the Tottenham camp, that fitness coach Piero Ventrone has suddenly passed away. That caused the cancellation of Thursday's press conference. So no news from Antonio Conte. It may be rearranged for Friday. We just don't know at this point. But what we do know in terms of team news, Japhet Tandanga, he wasn't involved in the Champions League midweek. That was due to injury. Don't know the extent or the problem with regards to that. There will be at least 1 enforced change from the North London derby defeat to Arsenal last weekend. That was because Emerson Royal was dismissed and will serve a 3-match ban. Just how Antonio Conte will look to change things up remains to be seen. Of course, you have Matt Doherty, who could come on the right-hand side, but we've also seen Perisic move across to the right and Ryan Sessegnon being deployed on the left. So, like I say, listen to Friday's deadline stream around about 2:15 to 2:30 to get my thoughts, and hopefully, like I say, we'll have all of the latest news, injury updates, and also my predicted 11. That's it for now. Back again very soon. Remember, you can always pop your comments in the box below, hit that like and subscribe button, and we see you very soon.